has for you here tonight. It sure is a blessing to be here. Great time we always have. See people get saved. But now, they're not going to get saved if they're not here. And as the pastor said, go get them. Everybody here can make your own little mini bus ministry for tomorrow night. Go pick up some kids and bring them here tomorrow evening. And I'm praying the Lord will get a hold of hearts. You think you've heard it all and the world can't get worse, but it does every year. And God knows if we ever needed a touch and the fires they was singing about, it's now. Sure is good to be back with y'all, Brother Mark and the family. What a blessing. And I always enjoy their fellowship and what they're doing. Good to see them boys in the group. Isn't that a blessing, y'all? I think the devil hates families that sing together and I think he hates that. Some of the best harmony you'll ever hear in the world is families. Their voices blend together. And there's two instruments that it's almost impossible for them to glorify God. One's drums and the other's saxophone. And that boy did a good job on that tonight. Isn't that a blessing? Those two instruments, it's almost impossible. They're just not made for worship or something. But you can use them right. But I thank the Lord for that. That was good. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow and the good singing, fellowship. It's also a blessing to see all of you here, I think from different churches and stuff. Miss Sarah Klontz, a friend of mine. We go to camp with our church every year up in Tennessee. Raise your hand over there, Miss Sarah. And she's down here in college. So y'all know her. She's a great singer too. Great singer. And so y'all be sure to make her welcome here. Down here in this hellhole somewhere down there in Fort Myers. I don't even know the name of it. But y'all pray for her and all these college students. Colleges are the great breeding grounds of sin, brother. And so you pray for our young people that are in them, any of them. Now, tomorrow night, as the preacher said, I'll be preaching tomorrow night, if it's the Lord's will, the video message on the devil's devices. Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird how that King James Bible is never out of date? All these people saying, oh, it's just so hard to understand. We got to have a new one. Listen, brother, you understand this. There's no slime in the purslane. No, you don't understand that. You understand this? There's butter in the dish. You understand that King James Bible. It's amazing how up to date this book is. Wrote in 1611, translated in 1611, wrote 2,000 years ago. God preserved His Word. You don't want a Bible that says Joseph is Jesus' father in Luke 2:33. You know which one says that? The NIV. You don't want that. You don't want a Bible that said the man walking in the fiery furnace with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is a son of the gods in Daniel 3. You don't want that. You want a Bible that said that was the Son of God. You want a Bible that said Joseph and his mother in Luke 2:33. You don't need a new Bible. We need to get a new look at it. And so tomorrow night, the devil's devices. Isn't it odd that the Lord put that word device? Think about that. Everywhere you go now, everybody's talking about my device, my devices, my iPad, my iPhone. Isn't that weird that God said that in 1600 before any of that stuff was invented? The devil's devices. That'll be tomorrow night. You don't want to miss it. If you don't believe we're close to the mark of the beast, coming to the Lord, all that stuff, you be here tomorrow night. We're starting at 5:30 with the food, right? And church at 6:30. So I want you to be writing down somebody that you can call. Your old hateful sister or somebody that you're mad at. Be a good time to make up. Christmas is coming. You want her to buy you something. So patch some things up. Get them in here tomorrow night. Lord will bless you for it. All right, take your Bible tonight. Turn to 1 Timothy chapter 4. the book of 1 Timothy, chapter number 4. I'll start there tonight, and I want to preach to the young people this evening, to all the young people. Be sure and listen up here for a minute. 1 Timothy, chapter 4, verse number 12. Paul told the young preacher, Timothy, this is for all you teenagers and younger here tonight. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers. While you're still young, in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, and in purity. That'll give you plenty to do for a while right there. Be an example of a Christian while you're young. I want to preach tonight on the subject, why young people, while you're young, need the Lord. You have an idea today that, quote, religion is just for old people that don't know no better. And us old people, we ain't got no sense, and it's too old. We're too old to have fun, and you're all smart and got it all figured out. And as I said many times, the smartest young person in here tonight, in this room tonight, the smartest young person is the one that says, hey, I'm young. If you can help me, please, preacher, tell me what I should do and what I shouldn't do. That's the smartest kid in here tonight. The dumbest kid in this room tonight is the one that said, you ain't going to tell me nothing. I know what I'm doing. I'll make my own decisions. I'll do my own thing. You're the dumbest kid in here tonight. You've got a lot to learn, don't know it. A person who's dumb don't know they're dumb. That's dumb as you can get. If you're dumb and know you're dumb, there's hope for you. But if you're dumb and don't know it, you're a Democrat. I'm sorry. But anyway, let me just talk about that for a minute. And I want to say a few things about that this evening. While you're young, it could be and should be a very exciting, thrilling, interesting, challenging time of your life. But being young can be a dangerous time and a serious time. And I want to talk about that this evening. Number one, you shape and form habits in youth that are not easily broken when you get older. Do you know that? Even little harmless things that we don't think about. You shape habits that are, when you're young, that it's hard to change when you get older. I know a man right now who's in his 60s. And when he was young, he had this habit, I guess as a child, of every time he likes something or gets excited, he does this and rubs his hands together. And he's smart, normal, nothing wrong with him. And to this day, if the preacher says something funny or something happens exciting in church, he'll do this. At 65 or 70 years old, doing this. That started way when he was a little child. I know a kid right now, when he was a baby, went to sleep every night with a bottle or a pacifier and would take his finger and curl his hair like that and just put himself to sleep. Today, almost a teenager still takes a finger and rubs it in his hair like that. To me, that's a little weird, but that's just the way he goes to sleep. On his honeymoon, he will say, good night, honey, and do this, and like that, until he goes to sleep. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying you form habits while you're young that you don't. I heard about this man who was a shepherd. And he let the sheep all come in the gate at night. You know how you've heard how they count them coming in the gate. And he'd take a stick and hold it out like this, his rod, and the sheep would jump it. And he'd count 1, 2, 3, 4, all the sheep lined up. And he said after about 10, he could just take his rod and lay it down, and all the rest of them would still jump. And really, that's why God compares us to sheep. You get a certain way of doing things, you get in a habit, and it's hard to break. That's why good habits are okay. Nothing wrong with a habit if it's good. And it's good to have good habits. My mom taught me when we were little, me and my two sisters, she said, when you get through eating, So wipe your plate off. Go over to the trash can or whatever. Rake off everything in the trash can or wherever you're going to put it. Take the plate to the sink and wash it off. We did that always growing up. Always growing up. And to this day, if I'm at somebody's house eating, I get through, I start wiping my plate, and the woman always said, no, do that. And I go over to the sink, turn the water on, and it's just in me. It's a habit formed when I was young. I'm the same way about making up the bed. I make up the bed. My mom always made us make up the bed. I mean, my room can be that high in junk, brother. You might have to climb over clothes and shoes, but my bed's going to be made up. And the reason you get in the habit of it, I heard about these little old mountain church. We heard the jokes a while ago about the accent being funny, but we got our own ideas about who got an accent. But anyway, the lady told me one time, she said, you got the funniest accent. I said, I ain't got no accent. She looked at me so funny. But anyway, these old girls up in the mountains, a preacher went to eat with them one time, preacher, and it went down, the girl fixed a ham, big old ham, and she cut the whole end of it off, about that much of it off, and put the middle of the ham in the pan, put it in the oven. And he said, I'm not trying to be nosy or nothing, but why do you cut the end of that ham? She said, I don't know. My mama always did that. And she said, Mama always did. So that's Mama. He said, Mama, he asked her, he said, you cut the whole end off of the ham before you put it in the oven, right? And she said, yeah, always have. He said, why do you do that? She said, I don't know. Mama always did that. He went to Grandma's house. He said, Mama, you cut the end off of that ham. She said, Lord, preacher, when we was coming up, we was so poor. We didn't have nothing. I didn't have but one little old pan, and it wasn't long enough, so I had to cut the ham off to get it in that pan. And these nuts was cutting it off all them years for no reason at all. Just because they'd learned that coming up. I had a little church, no joke, up in the mountains, way up on top of a mountain, little old country church. Preacher went there one time. It was his first Sunday to preach. He got up to preach, and it old mountain people, and it had one big old crowd of pews over here, and another big old crowd of pews over here, aisle down the middle, sort of like you got here. And look, he noticed that every Sunday morning when they dismissed for Sunday school, have a little break between Sunday school and preaching, all these people would get up and go over there, and all them people would get up and come over here. He thought, well, whatever, I guess that's what you want to do. All right. One day he got curious. He said, I don't know, why do y'all do that? And nobody in the whole church knew. People said, I've been coming here all my life. That's what we've done ever since I've been here. He went back in the minutes. He went back in the church notes, and they went back in the books and looked, and they found out that like 100 years ago, that was a little one-room church, and they said they had a great big old pot-bellied wood stove over here on this side. And in the wintertime, it gets so cold that these people could sit near the stove during Sunday school, and they'd swap so that them could sit over here and get warm during preaching. And them nuts with a heat pump and everything was swapping sides for absolutely no reason at all. Now, I'm saying to you tonight, we all form habits while we're young that it's hard to break when you get old. And if you're not careful, there'll be bad ones. If you don't learn how to clean up your room, you're probably going to be a sloppy wife. And your husband needs to know that before he marries you. If you won't work a job, you're probably going to be a sorry husband, and your wife needs to know that. Like the girl said, but no, he's just so cute, he won't, whatever, I mean, he might have that six-pack right now, but after a year or two, he'll have the whole case. And then you'll realize you made a mistake. That's right. One girl told me, she said, well, I just can't find a decent guy. I said, finding a good man nowadays for a girl is like finding a parking place at Walmart. All the good ones are taken and the rest are handicapped. Ain't that right? Amen. That's true. You say, well, preacher, he's got them pearly whites. Yeah, and it won't be but a year or two. He'll be hanging on the edge of the bed at night, too. You better find out more than that. You better find out more about him than that. But anyway, spiritual habits are the same thing. If you train yourself to go to church, and you go to church every time the doors are open when you're growing up, there's a good possibility that you're going to keep doing that in adulthood. You form habits while you're young that are not easily broken when you get old. Heard about this guy in Japan? No joke. In Japan, they have a strong custom that when you go into somebody's house, you take shoes off. Some people do that here, some don't. But in Japan, it's a very, very strong custom that you remove your shoes when you go into somebody's house. Well, this guy's house got robbed, and they got to look at, and police come over to investigate, and the burglar had left his shoes. That's right. Easy to find that feller, because he was being polite as he entered the house which he was going to rob. Now, you know what that is? Habit. 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 If you develop a habit of watching dirty movies, talking dirty, acting wicked, it's hard to break when you get older. If you get a habit of drinking alcohol or other things, you develop habits while you're young that are not easily broken when you get a little older. And by the way, kids, you don't get your license till you're 16 for a reason. I would hate to be, I feel sorry for you. You're 13, 14, 15, 16. You have a grown body and a little tiny brain like this big. That's a bad shape to be in. It really is. You talk about blonde jokes. Them blonde jokes ain't no accident. There's a reason for that stuff. All of them blonde when they're 12 and 13, 14. Yes, sir. And I got 3 blonde-haired daughters. Y'all know them. So it don't mean nothing bad by it. But, Lord, there's 2 girls up yonder sitting up in North Carolina, 900 miles from here. 2 blondes sitting out one night, and they was looking at the moon. And one of them said, which is further, Florida or the moon? And the other one said, duh, you can see the moon. That's the kind. Now that's the shape you're in tonight. If you're a teenager, please listen to me. Your brain's not developed. I don't mean that. It's awful. One girl, these 2 of them walking down the road one day, and one of them said, look at that dog with one eye, and the other one went. We're talking about these kids are in high school. One of them was on the side of the pond one day. She's over here on this side of the pond, and another over there on the pond. She said, how do you get to the other side? And she yelled, you're on the other side, stupid. That's the way they do. Just junk like that. I'm telling you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad state of affairs, brother. It really is. You better watch the habits you form. Listen, our generation is the dumbest generation we've had in a long time. They have healthy thumbs now. They can work them thumbs, buddy. Their thumbs are more healthy than any generation in history. But as far as digging a ditch, running a vacuum cleaner, running a weed eater, oh, you guys know how to run a weed eater? I hope you do. Girl had these 2 dogs one time. She said, hold them like this. And the guy come up and said, oh, I like your dogs. What's your name? She said, this one's Rolex. This one's Timex. I said, what? That's a weird name. Name dogs. Why'd you name them that? She said, well, the man I got them from said there's watchdogs. Well, you got to learn. The best thing for you to do, I'm telling you, the best thing for you to do tonight is to say, you know what, I'm dumb. I better listen to these people. I better listen to my pastor. I better listen to the Bible. I better listen. Somebody teach me something. I'm crazy. I'm telling you tonight that you make decisions. Number two, you make decisions. Listen to me. You make decisions in youth that you cannot undo when you're an adult. There's some things you can do while you're young you can't undo. Now, thank God there's some things you can fix. Some things you can go back and repair. But there's things you can do tonight. Listen, people, there are thousands, not hundreds, thousands of young men in their 30s and early 40s that are sitting in prison tonight, barely get out of a cell 1 hour a day, stay in a cell 23 hours a day, get out to eat and take a shower, and that'll be their life, adult life, because of something they done when they was 18, 19, or 20. You can do something you cannot undo in your adult life. Right now, there are thousands of young ladies, 25, in their early 20s, 28, 29, 30, that are in drug rehabs right now. While we're sitting here tonight enjoying church, they're sitting there. They've lost their kid. They've lost their job. I know of one right now up in North Carolina. Good girl. She is in church, done real good for a while. She got a boyfriend. That boyfriend introduced her to drugs. She got to messing around. They'd get high a little bit, and then next thing you know, it's meth, it's cocaine, it's everything. That girl lost her house. She lost her job. She lost most of her health. She lost custody of her kids. She has nothing. She has nothing. She lost everything. All because she listened to some guy who told her, you try this, everything will be all right. I plead with you tonight, kids. I beg you all you little ones, young people up here tonight, don't go down that road. Don't ever take nothing. Don't ever shoot nothing. Don't ever snort nothing. Don't ever drink nothing that your body's not supposed to have in it. You talk about a shortcut to hell. You talk about living a miserable life on this earth. Drugs, listen people, drugs is killing our country tonight. Everybody here tonight has a story of somebody in your family whose life has been destroyed by opioids, legal drugs. See, if you don't get them from the drug dealer, then you go to the doctor and get them from the doctor and become a legal drug addict. I have a friend of mine right now in Kentucky. Young man loved God. He was probably about 40 last time I saw him. He was an old-fashioned shouting preacher. I mean, old-timey kind. Really, I mean, I'm a city slicker outside this guy. He's shouting, raising his hand, praising God all the time. Never partied, never drank alcohol, never got in trouble, nothing like that. And he hurt his back at work. He went to the doctor, and the doctor gave him, he got Percocets, Vicodin, and oxycodone. And the next thing you know, he took them for the pain, and little by little by little, his body began to crave that. And as the pain went away, his body kept craving it. He kept getting his prescription refilled. He kept getting it filled. He kept getting it filled. He kept getting it filled. Right now, tonight, he has no church. He has no ministry. He's about to lose everything. His job, his teeth are rotting out. He's losing everything he's got. Listen, y'all hear me tonight? We got pretty many young people here this evening. Y'all listen to what I'm saying. If somebody says, hey, you want to get high? I don't care if it's just a joint. I don't care if it's just one beer. If you got a brain in your head, you tell them to go jump in the lake, swallow a snake, and come back up, bless God, with a bellyache. You tell them to leave you alone. You say, get behind me, Satan. I know people, and you know people, that would give $1 million if they could go back to that day before they got on drugs. You can make decisions while you're young that you can't undo when you get older. They called me not long ago. Me and my wife went to the hospital in Asheville, North Carolina. We live about 45 minutes from Asheville. And they have a big hospital there. They said, Danny, you better go see your cousin. My cousin was in the hospital. She's like died. She's in her 30s. when she was 17, guy got her to smoke pot at school. Well, from marijuana to alcohol to you name it. You name it. And there's always some brilliant boy who thinks, not me. Ain't going to happen to me. I can get high a little bit, but I ain't going to do that. Now let me ask you something. Why, if there's 100 people in front of me and we're all going toward that door right there, and there goes one, and there goes another and fall off a cliff, there goes another and fall off a cliff, there goes another and fall off, and I'm moving up, now there's 75, now there's 65, now there's 55. What makes me think it's going to be any different when I get there? There's 10,000 done went off the edge, y'all. What makes you think you can handle? Every one of them thought they could handle it. Every one of them thought that won't happen to me. Everybody who died. You do know that opioid overdose is the main killer in America now among young adults. You do know that, right? It's past car wrecks. It's past accidents. Our generation is being killed by legal drugs. So I went in there and there she laid. Her leg was split from here to here. I mean, it's open like a watermelon. I couldn't stand to look. It's horrible. She pulled her gown and said, look at my leg, Brother Danny. I'm her cousin. She called me Brother Danny because I was her pastor for years growing up. She said, look. And I said, Shana, what in the world? What are you doing? And she just like, here's the way she acted. You see them act like that, ain't you? I witnessed to a woman on the bus route the other day, and she was like this. How are you? I'm fine. Is that the way you want to wind up? You better tell them to jump in the lake. You better tell them to leave you alone. You say, well, they'll laugh at it. I don't care. Let them laugh. You say, I don't have no friends. You don't need no kind of friends like that. Lord, you better off be by yourself than to go down that road. And she's just going like this in the bed. And I said, Shana, she couldn't find a vein. She tried to shoot air here, and finally you can't find no vein. You start shooting it in down here somewhere in your toes somewhere. Stick a needle. And I said, you know this is going to kill you, right? She said, see, the devil can get you to the point where you don't even really care if you even live or not. They say, what if I do die? My life's hell anyway. You know where that started? When she was 17 in high school, when somebody got her to get drunk the first time. That's when it started. And I said, what's the boy she's living with? I said, where's he at? He's in jail. And it was in the paper, our local paper. He hit her in the back with a hammer. He hit her with a hammer. And I said, now you're done with him, right? I said, you mean you're going to take him back when he gets... And she said, well, he's got issues. I said, he sure does. Somebody hit you with a hammer? You crazy? You crazy? I said, you know next time he'll kill you. You understand? It's in the paper every day, people. It's in the paper every day. 34 years old, found dead in an apartment. 38 years old, found dead in the trailer park. 28 years old, it's every single day. It's thousands and thousands. And I said, Shana, please get right with God. There's hope. You don't have to live like that. You can get the victory. You can overcome. Jesus Christ can break any chain that's got a hold of you if you'll trust Him and turn your life over to Him. She got out of jail, or she got out of hospital and went back home. I guess he's out of jail now. I don't know what she's doing. I'm looking to get the phone call any day. Somebody said this. Hello. My name is drugs. I destroy homes, tear families apart. I take your children, and that's just the start. I'm more costly than diamonds, more costly than gold. The sorrow I'll bring is a sight to behold. If you need me, remember I'm easily found. I live down the street in your schools and in your town. I live with the rich. I live with the poor. I live down the road or maybe next door. My power is awesome. Try me, you'll see. But if you do, you'll never get free. Try me once, I won't let you go. Try me twice, and I'll own your soul. When I possess you, you'll steal and you'll lie. You'll do what you have to just to get high. The crimes you'll commit for my narcotic charms won't be worth the pleasure you'll feel in your arms. You'll lie to your mother. You'll steal from your dad. When you see their tears, you won't even feel sad. You'll forget your morals and how you was raised. I'll be your conscience. I'll teach you my ways. I take kids from parents and parents from kids. I turn people from God and separate friends. I'll take everything from you, your looks and your pride. I'll be always with you, right by your side. You'll give up everything, your family, your home, your friends, your money. Then you'll be all alone. I'll take and I'll take till you have nothing to give. When I'm finished with you, you'll be lucky to live. If you try me, be warned. This is no game. If you give me the chance, I'll drive you insane. I'll ravish your body. I'll control your mind. I'll own you completely. Your soul will be mine. The nightmares I'll give you while lying in bed. The voices you'll hear inside of your head. The sweats, the shake, the visions you'll see. I want you to know these are all gifts from me. Then it's too late, and you'll know in your heart that you're mine, and we won't apart. You'll regret that you tried me. They always do. But you came to me, not out of you. You knew this would happen. Many times you were told. But you challenged my power and chose to be bold. You could have said no and just walked away. If you could live that day over, now what would you say? I'll be your master. You'll be my slave. I'll even go with you down to your grave. Now that you've met me, what will you do? Will you try me or not? It's all up to you. I'll bring you more misery than words can tell. Come take my hand. I'll lead you to hell. That's it. You can do things while you're young that you can't undo when you get older. Once you've broke it, once you've committed that crime, once you've messed something up and it can't be undone. That's why if you're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 here tonight, give your heart to the Lord Jesus Christ. Stay straight, live right, and you'll be a whole lot better off when you get older. It might be lonely for a while, but buddy, you go that other way. You say, well, Brother Danny, how do I know the Bible's true? Listen, this thing's been proved true so many times, we won't even take time to get into it. This book will stand when the world's on fire. There is a God. There is a Jesus. There is a heaven. There is a hell. It's below us tonight. Listen, you didn't come from no monkey. Your grandpa didn't swing by his tail from a tree somewhere. You came from the hand of God. God made us. He allowed us the freedom of choice. If we choose sin, there'll be a cost to pay, a price to pay. But I'm telling you tonight, His Word, like they were singing a while ago, His promises are true. You can count on the Lord. He'll be your friend. I got saved when I was 18. It ain't going to kill you. I've been preaching since I was 19. Was it hard? Yes. Did my friends make fun of me? Yes, they did. Did they laugh? Yes. Did some of them call me crazy? Yes. Did it kill me? No. Some of them's in the grave right now. Some of them ain't lost everything they got right now. And I'm saved and in my right mind headed to heaven. I'm telling you tonight, you can do things while you're young that you'll never undo when you're old. Make up your mind tonight, not tomorrow. Tomorrow may be too late. The promises of this book are true. You don't have to worry. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but the words of that book will never pass away. I'm telling you, brother, listen, brother. Lady Doo-Doo will teach Sunday school and sing in the choir before one word of that book right there fails. Say amen right there. Amen, brother. That's right, brother. Old Justin Timberlake will have to get him a job at McDonald's to make ends meet, pay his taxes. Before that book right there fails, it'll never happen. Hallelujah. Amen. Kim Kardashian will go out of the house without makeup on, bless the Lord, before one promise in the book fails. Every promise in the book is mine. Every promise in the book is mine. Every promise in the book is mine. Amen. I'm telling you, brother, Hillary will speak in tongues and lead the ladies' Bible study before one promise in the book fails. It'll never happen. Oh, Colin Kaepernick will sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl, brother, before that book fails. It'll never fail. Not one jot, not one tittle shall fail from the book of God that He's given us. Hallelujah. And if I wasn't such a dignified preacher, I'd run back there and shout. I don't know why y'all sitting way back here anyway. There's plenty of seats up here, you know. Scared I'll come back here and get you, ain't you? So, all right, I'm going to start back here, and everybody got to turn around and look. Take up an offering or something, preacher. These people need to get involved. You didn't take up an offering, did you? Okay, I was going to say, I thought I felt a weird spirit in here. That hinders the service if you don't take up an offering. Amen. I ain't talking about for me. Just you ought to do it because you love the Lord. Amen. Hallelujah. I'm telling you, brother, listen, you hear me tonight? LeBron James will admit he messed up when that book right there fails. It ain't going to happen. Donald Trump will run off with Hillary and have an affair and cheat on Melania. Boy, that'd be something. It's time to blow your brains out when that happens. Melania, Hillary, oh, Lord. It's okay, you can laugh. That's funny. I preached the other night on being politically correct. You'll be all right. This is church. We still got brains, and we still got common sense. Amen. The Lord will take care of you. Number 3, I'll say this and I'll be done tonight. And that is this. You can resist the Lord while you're young and greatly lessen your chances of being saved when you get old. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't believe it. You'd think all old people get saved, wouldn't you? Because they're getting ready to die. But they don't. Statistics show probably 90% of the people that are ever saved get saved before they're 25. You want me to prove it? Now, you got some people from up north down here that were Catholics, and I guess this might be a different kind of church. But let's ask the question. How many of you people in here were saved before you were 25? Would you raise your hand, please? Look at that. 95%. Now, what is it? Why don't old people get saved? I went to visit a guy in that hospital in Asheville, I told you about a minute ago. He had had 6 preachers to see him. I was the 6th preacher. He was laying there on his deathbed. Some family said, please go witness to him, Brother Danny. He's not saved, please. So I went over and I told the guy, I said, man, I tried to witness to him about getting saved. He said, I'm not ready. I mean, the guy's dying. What are you going to do, go get drunk, party? You ain't got but a few hours to live. He said, I'm not ready. As far as I know, that guy died and went to hell. Ain't that something? You know what that is? You say no when you're young, and then you say no in middle age, and then you say, and then you're so full of pride that you won't bow your head and say, I'm a sinner. God have mercy. As a matter of fact, pride is the sin that keeps most grown men out of heaven. That's too stinking proud to realize and admit you're a sinner. Hey, listen, you can greatly lessen your chances. What do all young people say? You want to get saved? No, I'm living it up right now. I'll wait and do that when I'm old. What do old people say? No, I've made it this far. I've lived my life on. I'm not ready for that yet. See how the devil tricks you? That's how he tricks you. Do it while you're young. Do it while you're young. It's staggering. The suicide rate has doubled in many of our cities of young people. Let me give you a little list here of people who have attempted suicide. Most time preachers give you a list of people who committed suicide, and we've all heard them. Let me give you a list of just some people you would recognize that have attempted suicide. Drew Carey, Gary Coleman, Danny Bonaduce, Mike Tyson, Britney Spears, Walt Disney, Drew Barry, slit a wrist, Elton John, too bad he didn't, I'm sorry. Owen Wilson, Johnny Cash, Tina Turner, Eminem, Liz Taylor, Ozzy Osbourne, Richard Pryor, Anthony Bourdain, the guy that worked for CNN just a few weeks ago, had the world by the tail. Anything he wanted, any kind of travel. You know, he traveled all over the world. He'd do these documentaries for TV, and I don't know, he traveled to some weird place in Thailand or somewhere, show how he eat the food, eat any kind of shrimp, any kind of lobster, stay in any kind of motel. He could have a string of girlfriends from here to the back door if he wanted them. He could have any kind of wine, song, anything he wanted, and blew his brains out just a few weeks ago. You know why? Because that stuff don't make you happy. That stuff don't satisfy you. There's something deep, deep down inside you that wouldn't be happy if you had the whole world and didn't have your heart right with God. Amen. Hey, you can resist the Lord while you're young. And it'll greatly lessen your chances. Daniel, a young boy at school, I think he's 13, was bullied. You know, they have a lot of trouble with bullying at school now. And his friends pushed him. They threw stuff at him, tripped him, poured stuff on his desk. He put his mouth and tongue up against the frozen window of the school bus. They laughed at him, made fun of him. It's a bunch of idiots do something like that. And they made fun of that boy and made fun of that boy and made fun of that boy. And finally they told him, said, why don't you just do everybody a favor? Kill yourself. And one night, he put out a text or something on social media, put it out there. He said, y'all won't have to worry about me no more. Tonight's it. I'm ending my life. And somebody saw it and tried to get in touch with his mom and dad, and they was at a ball game. And they think they went and found him and said, you better get home right now. Your son is threatening to. And by the time they got home, sure enough, there he laid in the bedroom floor. Just pushed by them guys at school. And we've all known people like that. Where the devil just pushed them and pushed them and pushed them. Up in Michigan, where they're from, 11-year-old boy hanged himself. Matt Edding, 14, killed himself by hazing. 13-year-old Megan committed suicide because she was encouraged by a fake admirer on Facebook. Somebody wasn't even real. Encouraged her to kill herself. They need more than games, church. I'm all for that. I like to play games, and I hope we have good ones tomorrow. They need more than just a hamburger or a hot dog. They need more than just a place to come. They need the Holy Ghost of God to get a hold of their hearts and change their life. That's the only thing that'll do it. That's what our generation of young people need. They don't need a rock band, blue smoke coming up out of the altar, and people dancing around like a bunch of idiots trying to imitate they're in a nightclub. They need real church. Real church. I heard a preacher come down the road not long ago and was traveling in a bus going from church to church. He said he's coming down through the mountains way up there in West Virginia somewhere. And it was senior prom night. And right in front of them there was a pickup. They had a boy and girl and 4 or 5 in the back of that truck. And they was getting drunk after senior prom. And he said they was going down through there that night. And he said he saw them as that guy lost control of that truck and that thing flipped. And he said when that pickup truck flipped, you could just see bodies getting slung out there through the woods in the ditch. he said that truck flipped, and he said he clamped down on the brakes of that bus like to run over him. And he got that thing stopped. He said he looked right there, and there was a young lady, teenage girl, already gone. He could tell she's dead. She's gone. He said over there laid another boy. He said here in the ditch laid this boy. He was groaning. He said, I went over to that young man who was laying in that ditch. He said, I got down like that. And I told him, I said, son, I'm a preacher. He said that boy was gurgling. Blood was coming out of his mouth. He said when I tried to pick him up, Brother Bill said his body was like water. Every bone in his body was broke. His body just wouldn't even stay still in my arms. He said, son, you're hurt bad. You're hurt bad. And he said that boy began to scream. He said, don't let me die. I'm drunk. I don't want to die. I'm drunk. And he said, son, I'm a preacher and I'm going to pray for you. And he said, I started praying. That boy gurgled his last breath. And his eyes rolled back and he's gone. Gone. You know what that boy thought that evening? He thought, I'm young. I'm going to live it up. I've got the rest of my life to do whatever I want to. But he was wrong. That's why young people need the Lord, y'all. Are you trying to scare? Yeah, I'm trying to warn you that could happen to me tonight or anybody else in here. We don't know if we got another day. That's why you need the Lord. If you're here tonight, if you're here tonight and you need the Lord in your life. If you're here tonight and you don't know that you've been saved, why don't you make things right tonight? Let's stand with our heads bowed, every head bowed and every eye closed.